Hello fellow teachers or those who are thinking of becoming one. I've been living and working in China for over 18 years and I would like to share some information about legal issues which might occur if you do not know anything about how things are done here. I'd like to mention that I'm not a lawyer and I speak from my own experience and the experience of my friends here. In this video I talked to Vicky, who has been working and living in China for over 9 years. She came here to study in a university and then decided to stay and work. Let's hear what she has to share. Let's jump right into it. Vicky, what should foreign teachers know working in China legally, meaning you have a working visa and a work permit?
Well, actually, the first thing you need to know is that China is very big and there are a lot of provinces and a lot of cities in China. So probably a particular school is going to have a couple of branches in different provinces and different cities. What you need to know is that you can only work in the particular branch where your visa is issued at.
Even if it's the same school in one city, it should be that particular one school where you are assigned.
Well, actually, when you receive your work permit, that's going to be a plastic card. It looks like a credit card or a debit card with your picture on it. It has the QR code on it. You can scan it. And the whole information about you and the company you work for is going to be written down. Okay, so it's going to be written the name of the branch of the school with its address. So you are only allowed to work at the particular address where the school is located. Even though the school has 2, 3 schools, branches in the city, you cannot go to them.
What should teachers be looking into before they sign a contract with a school?
The most important detail in the contract is to look at the position you are going to be signing for. For example, sometimes training centers or any other schools, they try to trick us writing down that we are going to work as a managing position or as an assistant position, which is equivalent to working illegally. If the police come and they check your work permit and they check what is written in your labor contract, you're going to get in some trouble.
Hearing that, I have a question. What sort of schools usually go through that and change the title of your job to get you working with them?
I would say the biggest amount of issues usually come from training centers because they're looking for a little bit cheaper labor with less kind of responsibilities or insurances they need to apply for. So they give you a kind of good amount of money to work for, but they don't apply for any kind of insurance apartment, I don't know, any kind of accidental insurance for you, which is going to cause you a trouble if you get sick in China.
So if we want to draw a conclusion from that, we would say that the smaller the business, the less responsible they can be in terms of what they write in the contract, right?
Well, if we talk about training centers at the moment, that first of all, the business can be really big. Let's say they have branches in different provinces and the biggest cities, but you never know who is the boss and who is signing you for that. Sometimes it can be in the agent who is saying that he works for the particular school, but in the end, when the problem comes, he disappears. He blocks you in WeChat, he never answers your phone, and the school doesn't know what to do with you because this is what the agent gave them.
From your experience, or maybe something that you heard, if we compare a training center with, let's say, a big international school, which one would be the safest choice to go with?
Well, definitely not a training school.
Not the training school.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you try to find a job in China, my recommendation for you is to avoid training centers. Don't forget about the governmental policies.
Which are?
Which are, in the past 2 years, the Chinese government issued the policy about the education that actually training schools are not allowed to work because the main priority for kids is to study at school and to have their recreational time. So the government decided in this way to restrict the amount of activities for training schools.
We spoke about training centers. Do they exist or do they not?
Well, of course they do exist. How can you shut down the whole system? But they found some other ways how to survive in the particular environment.
Which are?
They rechanged a little bit the system. So nowadays you are not the teacher of English, you are the teacher of how to paint or the teacher of how to do some Lego construction or how to do modeling. They teach you how to build planes, how to build shapes, which is
With English as language of instruction.
exactly.
Okay, okay. How about training centers for adults?
Well, actually, when it comes to training centers to adults, that's absolutely different picture because they do exist. They are allowed to exist, but it's not that popular business in China. But if you work in one of those, they're going to send you to some particular factories where you need a lot of documentation every time to get access to, due to corporate secrets and everything. They will take your phones, they will take your laptops at the entrance,
So
at the security checkpoint.
Security checkpoints.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even though that's going to be not a very legal job for you, it's always going to be a safe one.
All right, because it's impossible to trap you there, right? It's impossible to jump you there, right?
You cannot get into the production center. Try to imagine you're coming to the factory. The factory is huge. It's enormous size. Sometimes it takes like 20 minutes to walk from one part of the center to another part. So you never know which location you are going to teach at. Then there is a huge amount of security because usually they organize these training centers for international companies that have a lot of secrets to hide from their competitors. So they will check everything from you. And even if police come, they will have at least like 20 minutes to check all of the things they have with them, and you will have enough time to hide any way you want.
Okay. What is the punishment for working illegally?
Well, that's a very good question to ask and a very good answer to know. Of course, it depends on where you are, which city you are, what kind of situation you are in. But in the biggest amount of situations, they are going to give you kind of 3 times warning. Yeah? What is it about? The first time they are going to charge you from 5,000 to 20,000 yuan, excluding the amount of money they will charge for your employer. That's a completely different money. It can start from 20 ending at 100,000. The second time, if they catch you working illegally, you will go to jail, like kind of detention center, definitely not to jail, for 10 to 15 days, which is going to mark your visa history, and probably if you're going to apply for another country or another company, it's going to cause you a big problem. Ouch, yeah, definitely. And the third time is the worst. First, they will send you to the detention center, you will spend a month there, and after that, without even the opportunity to collect all of your luggage, you will be deported away from the country without being able to come back to that in the upcoming 5 to 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Is it worth that?
Not really.
It's really, yeah.
As far as I know, those 3 options, they vary from city to city, from province to province, right? And it always depends on what?
Well, actually, the first thing it depends on is the connections your boss have. So if the school you work at, they have really good connections, but don't trust their words. They can say that they have connections with the main policeman in the city, but it's not always the reality. But once your boss has really good connections, probably you're not even going to stay in the detention center. But if I were you, I wouldn't rely on this fact.
Because there is always a boss on top of that boss, right? Because China is so big, and the system, this hierarchy system of bosses is just so vast that it's impossible to see the end of it.
The second thing is definitely the mood. So if you try to be very impulsive, you're speaking very bad way, then probably you're getting into trouble too.
So the best advice would be not to behave in a bad way with...
Be nice.
Be nice, right?
Be nice and people will be nice to you.
How not to get caught if you decide to work as a part-time teacher on a student or a spouse visa, for example?
Well, have you ever been to a casino? Do you know how to play blackjack? Probably the same thing.
Do you know any stories of other people who got caught working illegally in China?
Well, you know, I don't like to talk about other people, so let me share my story. When I was a student here in China and just graduated, of course I used to work part-time, and all of this kind of easy money came to my pockets. They never caught me at the working place. They just called me while I was drinking beer in the swimming pool party, telling me that, hey, hello, Victoria, we want to see you in the police office tomorrow. That's it. Then I came there and I decided to be very nice and I just said, yes, I know what you called me here for. Here I am. Okay, 5,000 RMB, no record. Here you go. So be nice, agree with them, smile to them, make jokes. You will be the best here ever.
What would be your advice for foreign teachers working in China as teachers? What would be your advice for foreign teachers in China?
Be safe, be nice, be legal. That's it.